A cold breeze cut through the evening chill. Jonathan Reed, a billionaire businessman from New York, sat in his warm and luxurious limousine, waiting at a traffic signal. His eyes were tired, but suddenly, something caught his attention. On the sidewalk, a woman sat shivering, holding 2 children in her arms. His gaze froze. That face. I've seen it before, he murmured to himself. There was hunger in the children's eyes, and a lifetime of hardship on the woman's face. Jonathan's soul trembled. Is that Emily? He thought in shock, his heart pounding. Jonathan slowly stepped out of the car and walked towards the woman. In a quiet voice, he called. Emily. The woman flinched and looked up. For a fleeting moment, recognition sparkled in her eyes, then shame and sorrow washed over her. You. Jonathan. They both stood silently for a moment, as if time had paused. In broken words, Emily shared her story, how life had become unbearable after her husband passed away. Bills, rent, sickness, and the burden of raising 2 children had stripped her of everything. Once I had it all, now, I have nothing, she said, wiping her tears. Jonathan took her to a nearby cafe and ordered warm food for the children. They ate like they hadn't had a proper meal in weeks. Jonathan sat quietly, watching, Emily's tired eyes, the children's fragile fingers, every detail etched into his heart. Memories came flooding back, college days, laughter, dreams, and the moment he had confessed his love to Emily. But fate had led them down different paths. Why did you distance yourself from me, Jonathan? Emily asked softly. He simply replied. I won't let you go this time. When Jonathan reached home, Vanessa was waiting for him. Her eyes burned with suspicion, pride, and anger. Where were you? And who was that woman? Jonathan calmly replied. Emily, an old friend. I found her on the street today. She needs help. Vanessa flared up. We have a dinner party to prepare for, and you're busy doing charity. Why is that woman back in your life? To Vanessa, everything was about reputation, wealth, and status. She despised the poor. A woman from the streets cannot be part of our family, she shouted. Carl, Jonathan's longtime manager, had been embezzling company funds for years. Emily's return frightened him. He feared that if Jonathan reconnected with his sense of humanity, the fraud would be discovered. Carl fueled Vanessa's anger further. If that woman comes back, your reputation and wealth will be at risk. And if her kids become heirs, it'll all be over. Vanessa clenched her teeth. I'll never let that woman come near us. Carl thought to himself. It's time to destroy them both, in one blow. Despite all opposition, Jonathan moved Emily and her kids into a nice apartment. He bought them clothes, enrolled the kids in school, and filled the house with toys. For Emily, he opened a small art studio. After years, Emily held a brush again. Her paintings reflected pain, hope, and silent screams. One day, Jonathan said to her. You're not just a memory, you're my light. Tears welled up in Emily's eyes. Can I try to live again? Not just try, succeed, Jonathan replied with a smile. The art exhibition day arrived. The hall buzzed with people. Emily's paintings left everyone stunned. Each canvas told a story, of motherhood, poverty, and hope. But then Vanessa stormed in and shouted on stage. This is a fraud. She's a woman from the streets, and you all are praising her. Silence fell over the hall. Emily stepped back in shame, but Jonathan held her hand and stopped her. She may have risen from the dirt, but her heart is gold. And from today, she is my pride. The hall erupted in applause. Days later, Jonathan received an anonymous file. Inside were Carl's bank records and detailed reports of hidden transactions. Millions had been stolen. The biggest shock. Video footage of Carl's secret meetings with Vanessa. His heart shattered, but his decision was clear. Carl was fired immediately. Vanessa was served legal notice. You sold my trust, my dignity, and my emotions. You are no longer part of my home. Emily stood silently. Her tears said everything. With Jonathan's support, Emily founded the Second Chance Shelter, a center for women rejected by society. Every day, a new woman or child walked through that door, carrying hope. Emily taught them painting, educated them, and helped them rediscover the will to live. One day, a little girl asked her, "How did you do all this?" Emily smiled and said, "Because someone believed in me, and I forgave myself." One evening, during sunset, a simple ceremony took place on the rooftop. White flowers, soft music, and a warm atmosphere filled the air. Jonathan held Emily's hand and asked, "Will you be my tomorrow?" Tears streamed down Emily's face. "You didn't accept me from the past. You accepted me in the present. Yes, I promise to be your tomorrow." The children clapped joyfully. And the world witnessed, a billionaire and a homeless mother, united by love. As if the universe whispered, "When hearts are true, stories become miracles." Certainly. Here's the same long, beautiful lesson written in English, based on the emotional story you created. In life, not everyone's journey is the same. Sometimes fate lifts us high, and sometimes it brings us to our knees. But what keeps a person going, even in the darkest times, is humanity, truth, and the power of love. Emily's story represents the countless women around the world who have been broken by circumstances, abandoned, starved, judged, and yet still carry a light within them that never fades. And Jonathan, a man who had everything money could buy but was starving for peace, found in a single moment that true beauty, loyalty, and love often come from the most unexpected places. White heavy checkmark. A person's outward appearance doesn't define their worth. The woman sitting on a sidewalk might have a heart purer than any princess in a palace. White heavy checkmark. Wealth means nothing without compassion. Jonathan had everything, yet he found his real purpose when he embraced Emily, not just as a woman, but as a soul who deserved love, respect, and a second chance. White heavy checkmark. Women, when given a chance, don't just rise, they lift the world with them. Emily not only transformed herself, but became a beacon of hope for other women. White heavy checkmark. Arrogance, selfishness, and greed eventually fall apart. People like Vanessa and Carl may seem to win temporarily, but truth and kindness always reveal their strength in the end. White heavy checkmark. A second chance is not just a gift, it can be someone's rebirth. The Second Chance Shelter is a symbol of what can happen when someone chooses to believe in another person instead of judging them.